Peace, family. How you doing today? This is Mr. E on Victor E TV, and I come to you this morning with my morning thoughts. Yes, woke up early this morning before sunrise, as I can see now as I look out the window. The sun is rising to see another day again, and the sky is brightening. Usually I'm outside doing my little worship thing that I do every morning, just connecting with the earth, connecting with the universe, connecting my spirit, getting the right charge that I need from the Creator, Netta, which is a term that we use from way back with Kemet, where the word God, I don't think that was necessarily used back then. They used the term Netta, referring to nature, the creator of all things. And just rising this morning to see that sun come up, and I want to share with you some morning thoughts. And actually, I wanted to talk about these things earlier, but I just had not been inspired to speak about the Montgomery Brawl. The Montgomery Brawl. I don't know why it was on my mind this morning. I think it was more so because of the activities and some things that happened on yesterday. Now, today is Sunday morning. This is Sunday morning. Today is, let me look at my calendar. Today is the 20th. But the 19th, interesting, August the 19th, this is, of course, 2023. I had an interesting day. One of my brothers called me, dear brothers that I've called here, that I've met since I've been here in Montgomery. His name is Brother Frank Hardy. He's an artist, a brilliant artist and author. He plays the drums a bit, as he says, and I met him at the Armory in Montgomery because I met a Vanessa Edwards, who is the artistic manager, I believe, there at the Armory. And I met him there, and I saw all of the performing that he was doing was so parallel with the things that I've done over the last 30 years or so. And so I saw that I'm supposed to meet this brother. And we met, and ever since then, we've been brainstorming. God has been helping us to recognize, that there's a plan here, a plan where we have artistic men of wisdom. We're older men. Of course, y'all know I'm 65, okay? But we're older men that come out of the background of artists, being artists, and working in the community for years and years. He's worked for years boxing, okay, and dancing, and creating, and he's written a book. I've been looking for this book, but you've got to find it. I've been looking for mine. I started reading a couple of chapters in it, and I just found the book to really be one that just kind of pulls you into it. And this is all his brainstorm in reference to this book called The Dancer. The Dancer. And so I've read my books, and he's writing. We have so much commonality, and it was like, I'm supposed to be working with this brother. Okay, so on yesterday, we met at Starbucks, and I have an artistic background also, but he's strong in that, so I said, you need to teach me this. Okay, and it's just interesting how God is bringing people into my life to be able to complete the vision of the things that he's showing me every day as we move down through the years. And I've been doing this piece called the Motherland Celebration. Motherland Celebration, been doing it for years, all the way back to my earliest conception of African dance, which I got from Miss Diane Robinson there in Tuskegee. So she was the beginning of my walk into finding out and learning to love myself as a black man. And then that was the Honorable Johnny Ford. Johnny Ford, which was also someone that was in my life that gave me the pride of knowing what it means to be an intelligent black man, powerful black man. And if you know Johnny Ford, of course, you know the history of Tuskegee and what have you. But in just meeting him, and there are several others that I could mention that I will mention as God continues to give me a vision of where these gifts and how these things all come together. How do you orchestrate these things in light of the Montgomery Brawl? I'm telling you, I was there in downtown at the Montgomery Arts. It was an arts fair, a vendors there downtown in Montgomery, because I'm still learning Montgomery. And I was invited there by OK Ron, who plays the bongos. This guy, when I met him, I did a video on Sidewalk Talk of OK Ron. He just had this spirit about him that was just joyful. And in my spirit, I instantly connected with this brother. And this was down on the riverfront where I met him. Pretty much that's where I met him, on the riverfront. That's right. And I was down there doing some ministry and met some other young men who were ministers in the community there, just being about the business of what God has called us to do. And I'm constantly connecting with all of these brilliant, God-fearing men in the community here in Montgomery. And when I stood there on that front, I did a Sidewalk Talk video about it, and just seeing the people. We did an artist, and then we had some people that were just there on the street dancing, and Ron was just leading it. Ron was just leading it with this music. And you could, if you go and check out Sidewalk Talk with OK Ron, you'll see the joy that this brother was bringing. And I just seemed like the Spirit just came and said to me something significant about being down here at this riverfront. Because if you know about this history, this is where they brought the slaves in through this tunnel. And here we are sitting at the tunnel, and the Spirit, can you imagine the spirit of horror and what have you that has come through this tunnel as we came into this country, and as we were, brought here as slaves and what have you. But it was almost, it was such a spiritual moment that I just felt this presence of joy and pain. Joy and pain. And today, Ron. Now let me tell you about how I met Ron. I'm talking and spending all this time, about 4 weeks, coming to the riverfront, talking to Ron. And Ron, after long story short, Ron is the son of my classmate who used to sing with the Images way back there, with coming through with the Commodores and whatever, in his father's past. And this is how I met him. I had met him before I even knew who he was. And we finally make that connection. I say, something's going on here. This is really not just coincidental, but almost like a spiritual awakening of brothers and connections that need to be made. And with that Montgomery Brawl, now I'm with Ron the day before, which was on, I keep looking at my calendar because I want to keep these events as accurate as possible. That was on, I was at the I was at the arts program on the 4th, and I did a sidewalk talk there. Met this young lady, and the decoration that was just so beautiful with all the umbrellas. So you may have seen that one. Go back and look at that. That was the day before. That day actually happened. And then after I met Mr. Frank Hardy, we connected. And we went down to see my theater in Jackson, Alabama, because we were talking about creating and producing a movie together. Or a movie. I want to see his project done because that's why I feel like I'm here. I was given the opportunity to come here to be able to help others. And I've always done this, try to help our people become the best version of themselves and be able to just connect our spirits to where we can begin to work together and what have you. And also to send youngsters out into this world with the mindset of brotherhood, sisterhood, pride in knowing who you are, know thyself. And then when the Ankh came into my life, that was really an exciting time also. But on this day I want to mark this day of Saturday. Now, the Montgomery Brawl, this happened on the 5th. And I just met Frank. Okay, he had come down to the theater. We began to connect. And this brother just his mind is just constantly moving. And that's another couple of brothers that I've been with them. And they're constantly moving. So there's a spirit of just, we're just called to be at this point, at this moment. But now that brawl happened as we were coming back to Montgomery. Now, today we're doing morning thoughts here on Sunday morning, and this is Victor ETV. Now, why do I mention that? Yesterday, Saturday morning, Mr. Frank Hardy and I get together again, and we're at Starbucks. Been at Starbucks there here in Montgomery, and we're exchanging knowledge, he's teaching, helping me with the arts, and I'm showing him videos and the work that I've done down through the years. And of course, I'm going to share with you a video that I had spoken. Now, this is the power of words. I had spoken in Jackson, Alabama, actually Grove Hill, Alabama. This was at one of the Black History celebration of probably Dr. Martin Luther King, and we was on the square there in Grove Hill. And I introduced this young man who was a mentoree.
Has provided with everything that I've heard from Honorable Thomas Jackson and Ezell and what have you in supporting our children, and our speaker also, in supporting and moving our children forward. We have some students here are straight A students. Straight A young men. Straight A students. And they're all talented. But this gentleman right here, I want to make, this gentleman God has put on my heart. I believe that God has called him to do some great things, as he's called all of you to do some great things. This young man was trying to get more people to come out to this occasion. And he came to me and he was just broken about some of the response that he had gotten from some of our own African American students.
And the band was there. And I spoke these words.
Been given to me earlier about how to get everyone to come out this time. And seemed like everything got in my way, internet breaking down and everything to get the information out to the people. And so I said, I'm going to take advantage right now to get ready for next year. And so what I'm asking you to do, I'm going to put online so I'm going to do some choreography. Matter of fact, we already have the choreography. And when we start on that march next year coming down, I'm inviting everyone to come out in your African attire. Come out in it. I want you to go online. I'm going to put the choreography to the dance. And as the African drums are coming down that street over there, everybody, young and old, are going to know the steps. And we're going to get those steps, and we want it happening here in Jackson, Monroe, everywhere. everywhere anyone has access to the internet, run the dance. And come out and come and perform it as we're in the parade all the way down. And the band is going to be hopefully playing the drums for us to come down in celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. So, with that said, are we ready? Are we united to send the message out? We're going to go to ezelldance.com, and I'm going to put the dance on there. But right now,
there at that site, that the vision that God had given me even at that time was to be able to see parades and this spread all across the country, to be able to have this Motherland celebration. And we were going to teach this choreography. I actually went online and put up the choreography for the next year to make this this movement happen.
First step, I'm going to call a basic African step. It looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then come here. 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do that again.
Of our people coming together in a great spirit, in a celebration of the motherland. And when I was there with Ron, it was the connection of those two spirits there. The connection of the historic and celebrating and loving where we came from. And then to be there at that riverfront where how we got here, that pain of coming here. And to be at this point, after being separated, after being for years going through tragedies and misrepresentation and all the things that we have had to go through in this country, and to finally be at this point to where, after being separated from our religion, separated from our name, separated from our from everything, we were just a destroyed people, you might say. I often speak to my children and I say, you know, this isn't the language that we should have spoken. And one of the students said, well, what was the language? I had to go really deep with that particular student. But who we are today and where we are today in history, and to have this brawl to happen, when we were thinking, in my mind, I'm thinking, we're so separated. But to see those brothers and sisters come together, seeing a brother being abused, he could have been killed there. If they had guns there, it would have been a massacre. But it was a brawl. It reminded me of an old time fight. You know, we used to fight when we were younger. Nobody pulling out a gun, a knife, or anything like that. We just beat the heck out of each other. And it was something about that, just seeing God jumping in the water, swimming and all of this. Oh, I don't know when I felt the most proudest of what was going on, but did not know that it would end up being what it is. I wasn't there to see it. But just to see it all over the internet and to see this, I know everyone is feeling the same thing. Just a joy of knowing that we would have each other's back in a moment of that type of a crisis. It wouldn't have been so bad maybe if that was a fair, but it turned racial, not because of race, but just because it was an unfair fight to see unrighteousness happen right before your eyes. We've seen it happen so many times, yes, with George Floyd and all of the others who have gone forth. But God is doing something here. That's the way I feel. And just to see that happen and to see what it did to the spirits of. I was watching this video of this guy that was talking. He was telling his story about him and his neighbor, how they used to never get along. Him and this other brother which lived next door to him, and they hated each other. They wouldn't even speak to each other, whatever, not even having a reason. But after this brawl happened, he talked about how the brother invited him over for a beer. I'm talking long story short. They had a beer. They exchanged a beer. They get to conversing, and all of a sudden, they bonded around this situation of what just happened with the Montgomery Brawl. And then he said, now this was what really got me and pulled my heartstring, was when he said, I think they had gone out somewhere, and then they saw the Bloods and the Crips of these gangs who are usually adverse with each other. Okay. They had, something caused them to come together, and I think he had made this statement, or someone had made this statement about, I guess he amen the situation or whatever. But this guy, as hard as he was, brought to tears, almost tears, about seeing us come together, when it's time to. Really didn't even know that it was there and that it was possible, for these two rivalry gangs to come together and put aside their differences and come together. This was one of the most moving events to happen, to wake us up to realize that we must learn to love each other. We must learn that we are our brother's keeper. We must learn together. And if we can't come together, I would say, if I can't even come together with my brother across the street, or to forgive somebody for taking my girlfriend or whatever, I can't get to the point of doing that. And things of that nature, how can we come together in a situation that depends on whether we sink or swim as a people? We cannot survive without each other. We need each other. We need each other. And that brawl showed us that we can come together. That spirit of love is in there. We must learn to love ourselves and love each other if we're going to save ourselves. If we're going to save even this planet. The word, we are humans. The word hue, dealing with my brother, the artist, and when I was in college, I learned this term. Hue means color. We are people of color. We are melanated people, which means we are human. And for us to allow others, I don't know where they come from, aliens, whatever, or maybe just differences in us, in levels of pigmentation and what have you. I don't know. But one thing that should bind us together is understanding that we are human. We are brothers and sisters, and we are responsible for this earth. And we need to come together as earthlings, humans, to save not only ourselves, but save our planet. And what people are doing to destroy us physically, mentally, spiritually, economically. And if we don't wake up, such as the brawl, to realize we have more in common than we have that is uncommon. So this day, in spending time with my brother the other day, and there are many more brothers to come, we sat down at Starbucks, then we went back to his museum, I would say, where he has all of his art and stuff, and he plays the bongos, and we came together and I presented to him the idea about the drumming, about getting, this is something that I initiated in Grove Hill at Black History Production, to have a parade of us coming together with those drums and the band, and we were to produce this the next year. not knowing that it would happen now, but it was a vision that was given to me. And it takes more than one to pull off this. And God is bringing all of those who are necessary components to make this thing happen. The gifts are in all of us. We just have to learn how to work fairly together. We need to learn how to work together. And for a common cause. So I'm entitling this the Motherland Celebration. I think at the riverfront. At the riverfront. The brother and I right now are brainstorming about how to make this happen so that incident, that we can take the flow and the push of that to keep moving forward, to bring our people together and unite as one, to reclaim that which was stolen and taken from us. As one book I read was called Stolen Legacy. You should find the book, read it. And there are several other books out there that we need to read to unite us. But on this day, I'm believing that that vision will continue to move forward, or that brainstorm, because brothers, strong brothers came together. This brother has motivated me to get up and move, get up and make things happen. Sometimes we drag our feet, but you know what? Things have to happen in God's time. Things have to be in place. And hopefully certain things are in place at this point, even with me, with Frank, with OK Ron. Happy OK Ron. And there are so many other brothers, you know, Honorable Johnny Ford, my classmate Omar Neal, just so many brothers. Mr. Haygood there, Tuskegee. And I would like to think of this as, because I'm from Tuskegee, this came straight out of Tuskegee. And the artistic side of me, begun by Miss Diane Robinson. Oh, how I honor that woman, you know, who saw the talent and the beauty within me. And then there was a Miss Arrington. These are women who have poured into my life to make me focus in on the things that are needed to do for our people, for our culture. And there's so many more, which I will talk to you about as we continue to do morning thoughts. And at the end of the day, sidewalk talk, what's the rap, Copy Ministries, all of these opportunities that God has put into my hand as a platform to speak to our people. So in my own way, these are my morning thoughts. And as God continues to do this working, I'm praying that we'll all be able to work together, understanding that we need each other. Let's be about the Father's business this day. They're my morning